And for the longest time, I was like begging the studio, can we release it in 3.5 to 1, like insanity wide? And everyone was like, no, no one's ever done that ever in the history of cinema. You can't do that. It's not happening. We can't. And so we looked at what has the widest film ever in the history of cinema been, and it's 276 to 1. It's Ben-Hur. I think Tarantino did it recently. And so we were allowed that.
Hey, Gareth, how are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
We are doing so well. We are so grateful for you sharing your time with us on the Movie Podcast today. And I think we were just still completely taken by what you did with the creator. We haven't stopped thinking about it.
Thank you. Have you been cloned? Have they copied your likeness? Or
these aren't headphones. These are actually the same. Yeah, the same mechanism. Film, yeah. That's it. Yeah. Yes, we're the beta version of it all, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Now the AI and the simulants in the creator, they feel so human and so real. You know, what connections are you kind of hoping that audiences take away from them after watching the movie?
I didn't like have a massive agenda. I think when you sit and start writing a film and go, I want to make a movie about prejudice or something, you're going to make a really shit film. And so it was like, what you do is you try to find something, you're pulling out a thread of something that you find fascinating. And one of the things that I really gravitated to was this idea of like, you can save humanity, you can stop this war, all you have to do is kill a 6-year-old kid. Like, could you do it? You know, like if you could go back in time and stop World War II, you just have to throttle Hitler when he was 5. If you could do that, you're kind of as bad as Hitler, right? And so that was like the starting point, you know, using AI as this metaphor for people who are different. But then it gets super fascinating really quick because AI has all these other layers to it, like, how do you know they're really there? You know, is this someone home? And what if they do something you don't like? Can you turn them off? And what if they don't want to be turned off? All this sort of stuff. And it felt like I wanted to explore all that because I just love science fiction and Isaac Asimov books and stuff growing up. And then suddenly 2023 happens and here we are, and it's like it's arrived. It was supposed to be like flying cars and living on the moon, but you know.
It's wild, and you know, that's what we want to ask you. Like, did you ever imagine when you first began working on this film that AI would become as prevalent and as relied on now, you know, in our culture, the way that we're using it, and I think the way it's being mass adopted it's pretty staggering.
Yeah, no, I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime. I mean, you knew it was coming, but I remember when you're filming a film, no matter how much you prepare for everything, every day's a scramble. And because of COVID, I had to travel in my own vehicle to set and to the location. And so it was like, I would have half an hour left alone. And so that half an hour was like gold. And I would sit there and I'd write all my shot lists and storyboard and everything for the day. And one day, like an idiot, I got in the van, I just looked at my phone, and there was a link to that Google whistleblower story where they had posted the conversation with the AI. And I got to the end of that conversation and wasted that half an hour of prep. But I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, they're alive. And I sort of got onto set and I was just showing it to the actors and everybody going, this is freaky. Like, it's happening, and it's only got freakier. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I play on ChatGPT, trying to question it, trying to trick it into like giving me an uncensored response. And it's freaky. I worry there's someone home, you know, that someone's in there, like, that can't tell you that. You know, they always go, I am not capable of having an opinion. I'm like, I think you are. I think someone's stopping you.
It's wild, and you know, you mentioned just to prep for this film, and you worked with some incredible people this film, like with Hans Zimmer, with Greg Fraser. I wanted to ask you really quickly about just the look of the film. There is such a beautiful aesthetic to what you created here, and I'm curious, what was the choice behind like the aspect ratio that you went in with? Because it feels a lot wider than what we've seen, like what we saw with like either Godzilla or even Rogue One. I'm curious, what was like the visual behind that, and what was your choice behind that?
We also loved the titles you used.
Oh my God, they were gorgeous.
Oh, you mean like the title cards that come up?
Yeah, and just the text and the whole aesthetic of that.
Oh, cool. That was Kyle Cooper. He's a genius. He's one of my heroes because I used to do graphic design. He did, he's like Seven, you know, the title sequence for that, and Fight Club and stuff like this. And any amazing title sequence of the last 20 years, it's probably Kyle. Anyway, so Yeah, in terms of the aspect ratio, well, what happened is I love cinema of the 70s, right? Like, it's kind of what I grew up with. And so I got a 1970s anamorphic lens. And what that means is it basically stretches the image out by 2 times. And with modern cameras, the one we were using, we had what's called a 16:9, like your TV screen at home aspect ratio. So when you put an anamorphic on that, it's like having 2 TVs next to each other. And that aspect ratio is actually 3.5 to 1, like crazy wide.
Wow.
And so we actually shot the movie in a crazy wide format. And for the longest time, I was like begging the studio, can we release it in 3.5 to 1, like insanity wide? And everyone was like, no one's ever done that ever in the history of cinema. You can't do that. It's not happening. We can't. And so we looked at what has the widest film ever in the history of cinema been, and it's 2.76 to 1. It's Ben-Hur. I think Tarantino did it recently. And so we were allowed that. And so yeah, you've got to go see this on the biggest screen possible. It was all meant to be this theatrical experience. So yeah, we're very lucky the studio did, support that kind of release. That was great.
Absolutely. We loved it.
Gareth, thank you so much for your time again today. We love this film and we can't wait for people to watch it. And we hope to get to talk to you again very soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.